So right now let's simulate this. All right, so how do you simulate cloths? How do you animate cloths so it falls on the bed? Just like every other, like real world, you throw a cloth on the table, it lands on the table, right? And you throw a cloth on the chair, it lands on the chair. Sometimes the cloth depending on the quality or the texture or the feel of the material. If it's a lining material, it just fall, and over time, like it takes 2-3 seconds and it rolls down and falls on the floor. So depending on the kind of material you use and what kind of material you drop on an object, sometimes you drop a blanket, it will just drop, right, because of the weight of the blanket. So all that you could manipulate all that in Blender. You could do all that in 3D, right? So for this particular course, we'll be simulating it as a bed sheet. All right. So the first thing you do is, with this active, you come to your physics. It's called a physics panel. Just the way you have your modifiers, you also have your physics panel, right? What you want to select is a cloth modifier. sorry, I have cough. Your cloth modifier. So there are a few settings here. So by default, we want to leave that the way it is for now. So we want to come first of all to collision, so that when it falls, it collides with itself. It doesn't just poke into each other. So just the way your cloth falls now, it just collides with itself. It folds to itself, right? So you want to come to collision, right, and activate self collision. That's pretty much what you would do for now on this. All right. So having done that, all you have to do is press play, and tada, you just animated the shape. But unfortunately, it fell into, it's supposed to fall on the bed, but rather it fell through the bed and down it went. Alright, so what we want to do now is make it fall on the bed and interact with this bed like the real world. Alright, so what do? We'll add a collision modifier, just the way I explained before. So there has to be a collision. It's physics. Sorry, I'm going deep into physics, but I think this is basic. It's basic enough for you to understand. So it's simple physics. Any object that falls, must collide. When, as in, we did gravity. Whatever goes up must come down, and when it comes down, depending on the weight or the mass of what is on the ground, that's what will create the impact on the object. So if you throw an egg on the ground, if it falls on a foam, it may not break, but if it falls on an empty ground, definitely it's going to break. So there has to be a collision, mechanism, right? So we will have to create that collision for the bed. So you have to click on this bed. It's very simple. As this physics panel is still active, just press collision, and everything is pretty much basic here. There's no point going advanced. So you have to come to friction, right, and increase this to about 10. You can click it and press 10, enter a value of 10. So that's a collision there's a friction between the bed sheet and the bed. So you want to do the same thing for this guy. Add a collision modifier, come to friction, and enter a value of 10. Enter a value of 10. So I want to do the same thing for the floor, so that if it rolls, I'm going to allow it to roll to the floor, so you really see what I mean. So you add a collision modifier to the floor, so that when it falls, it drapes on the floor. All right. So now, if we go back and play this, watch what happens. Wow, yeah. There you go. We now have our bed sheet. It drapes. You see? Like I said, if I wanted to be, take my time on this bed sheet, I'll add more edge loops and tweak it more to look more realistic. So, but you get the picture. All right. Okay. It's still playing. I'm thinking it will, drape to the floor, but the bed sheet is big enough to lie. Okay, actually, it's draping this other way. All right. So let's go back. You can see it dripping down. So by default, this animation is set to 250 frames. Right, that's 10 seconds. So the 250 frames is 10 seconds of animation. You can see it dripping, reading here. So I'm not really satisfied with the way my bedsheet is, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. So you could go ahead and play with it. So what you could do is just, stop the animation, go back to the beginning, go to edit mode, right? Okay, it's the bedsheet. Tap to edit mode, add more, edge loops, and increase, add more edge loops to your material. Okay. Just play with it. Just tweak the bed sheets from edit mode, so that it gives you that feel, of roughness of fold when you simulate it. So if I simulate this again, it looks a lot better. All right. I think we are okay with that. We play it now. Okay. Alright. So if we allow it play, so actually if I increase this, you could see that it's calculating the simulation to the end. It's depending on how strong your system is, it may take time to simulate. I'm using a Core i7, like I said, in 3.0 gigahertz, so it's fast a bit. So depending on how your system, you may have to be patient for it to simulate to the end, so that you could find a perfect fold for yourself. Alright, so when that is done, it's much faster now. So it has baked, we call it bake, it has pretty much baked the animation. Alright, so I think this is okay for us. Maybe frame 50. It's fine. So I think this is pretty much okay. So what we'll have to do now is go to modifier and add, we add a subsurface modifier. Let me increase it. Ouch. No, don't do that. So we'll add some thickness. Let's add some thickness to the bed sheet. Alright. So how do we do that? Just go to add modifier and select solidify. So solidify. So it has added that thickness. So all you have to do is come down to this setting and increase the thickness of your duvet. You can try to go haywire, and but you just want something subtle. Alright. So you have a duvet. It has weight, it occupies space. Alright. So having done that, you want to apply each and every one of these modifiers, so that I will show you the next thing to do. So you first of all apply the subsurface modifier, apply the cloth modifier, and apply the solidify modifier. So you now have a duvet. Alright, so the next thing, you have to add another subsurface modifier, so it adds this smoothness to your bed sheets. So please ask your questions. If it's too hard, take your time, watch it and follow step by step. So I've added another one, so it gives that smooth feel to the bed sheet. Okay, so we now have a duvet or bed sheet, whatever you want to call it. So that's pretty much it for our bed. All right, so the next thing we want to add is curtains. We want to add curtains to the window. All right, and add a table and a swivel chair. All these are included in the project file I sent to you. So they're included in your mail. So all you have, I'll teach you. The reason why I didn't create them manually, so that you will learn how to append or import objects from from outside. All right, so I'll show you how to download these stuff. Okay, some of the objects, maybe you don't have time to create them and you want to quickly create an art, so you just quickly download them. Some of them are paid, some of them you could get free stuff, but I won't advise you at this stage to start downloading things. Try to create them by yourself. So the next one, we are going to create import a curtain, but before then I think we should create a pillow, right? I'll show you how to create pillow. So if I do a recap, I added a plane, went to edit mode with my professional editing, alright, added edge loops, raised them up to create like a manual fold before I literally use a simulation, alright, to fold the bed sheet or something. Alright, so I added a solidify to solidify the bedspread or the duvet. You could call it a duvet or a blanket. Alright, and also after having done that, I applied each and every one of them, starting from the first, that's the subsurface, the cloth modifier, and the solidify. After I did that, I wasn't satisfied with the way it looked. I added another subsurface modifier. So if I increase this, you will see how the feel of the cloth. All right, so it's pretty basic. You can see the fold. I like the fold. It's really sweet. I'm in love with this. I like the fold. So it looks like you just woke up and left your bed without laying them, so it adds that realism to the scene. So if I was scrolling, you could see the scene. There's a whole lot you could do with this. I mean, you could even start an interior design page where you could create interiors, just create kitchen and all. So there's a lot of possibility you could do with this particular teaching. All right, so go ahead, create your simulate. You do not have to be perfect. The goal is progress. It's about credibility. It's about building competence. So sometimes competence take time. You have to keep trying and keep trying. Don't try to do it. When you do it, post it. Don't try to say I want you to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like my sister always tell me, I like to make it perfect, but I've learned that it doesn't have to be perfect before it sells. The goal is just make progress. We'll create the pillow, create pillow, then add the curtains, the table, and the chair. Then after we've done that, we'll color our scene. We'll add a floor texture. It's going to be amazing. You're going to learn how to light your scene up. Give it that feel, that's interior design, like architectural visualization. Even the English self, to give you some vibe, some gist. Don't mind me, I'm always silly sometimes. Alright, so let me see what you guys are up to. Bye.